was wrestling.
What does it matter? Let him die where he chooses.
Tannis, the Dragon Orb. His magic, maybe he can help.
By all the gods, Caramon, you're right. Bracelet must be below deck.
Tannis, Caramon, where are you going? Should we follow?
Don't come.
But Tannis!
Let Caramon and I handle this. You stay here with them.
Oh, Caramon, be careful.
Don't come near me, Tannis.
What are you doing?
I am fleeing certain death, half-elf. What do you think I'm doing?
How?
Using my magic. And the magic of the Dragon Orb. It is quite simple, though possibly beyond your weak mind. I now have the power to harness the energy of my corporeal body and the energy of my spirit into one. I will become pure energy light, if you want to think of it that way. And becoming light, I can travel through the heavens like rays of the sun, returning to the physical world whenever and wherever I choose.
Can the Dragon Orb do this for all of us?
Possibly, but I am not certain. I will not chance it. I know I can escape. The others are not my concern. Stand back!
All right. You'll kill me without a second thought, but you won't harm your brother. Caramon, stop him.
Don't do it, my brother. Come no closer.
Go ahead, Caramon. He won't hurt you.
Tell him, Caramon. Tell Tannis what I am capable of. You remember, so do I. It is in our thoughts every time we look at one another. Isn't it, my brother?
What is he talking about?
Powers of high sorcery, but we're forbidden to speak of it. Parcelian said.
That doesn't matter now. There is nothing Parcelian can do to me. Once I have what has been promised to me, not even the great Parcelian will have power to face me. But that's none of your concern. This is the last test in the Tower of High Sorcery, Tannis. Was against myself, and I failed. I killed him, Tannis. I killed my brother. Or at least I thought it was Caramon. As it turns out, it was an illusion created to teach me to learn the depths of my hatred and jealousy. Thus, they taught me to purge my soul of darkness. What I truly learned was that I lacked self-control. Still, since it was not part of the true test, my failure did not count against me. Except with one person.
I watched him kill me. They made me watch so I would understand him.
Us.
I do understand. I understood then. I'm sorry. Don't go without me, Raz.
Done.
So weak. You need me.
No longer, Caramon. I need you no longer.
Caramon, go ahead.
Don't make him come near me, Tannis. I assure you, I am capable of this. What I have sought after my whole life is within my grasp. Look at Caramon's face, Tannis. He knows. I killed him once. I can do it again.
Raz!
Must be luck. Void. Marlan. Samapnar. Dun.
Raz! Raz!
Farewell, my brother.
Pre-recorded in a second-floor guest room filled with tall ales and taller tales. Join a group of grown men intent on discussing the intricacies of fantasy and science fiction. Tim Gilbert Media presents
Dungeons and Dweebs! I think the battle axe got it right to the back of her heart.
Hello, all you consumers of cheap dime store Hylordian romance novels. This is the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast, episode 5, Dragons of Spring Dawning, part 1. I'm your host, Bob. I can't give you my Altica, but I'll give you what I can. Angina Astinian Chandelier Baby Burner the 12th. But I'm not alone. Across the table from me, the man who can pound out his own Dragonlance faster than Theros Ironfeld's silver arm, Luke.
I mean, we're here, innuendo aside, excited to be here with Volume 3 of the Dragonlance Chronicles, books at least 1 and 2. Super excited to be here. A little bittersweet. We're on the last third of this here. But you know what? Let's just kick it off right away. To my left, I have nothing clever to say. He's Klab.
Younglings, I tell you what, it's been a week for your salacious old Uncle Klab. I'd love to say I've been laid up in my bed for 2 days like Tanis and Kitiaras, but the truth is it's more aching to Flint on that damn ship. Flu season has hit me with the force of Mjolnir. I'm dying here, kids. Please send me some of that Weapon X serum. Let me know where I can find a Genesis device, or if you happen to have a Bacta tank, I could take a nice long soak in. But enough about my misery. Across the table from me, as always, is the man whose lack of a plan may rival current world leaders. The Cable to my Deadpool. The Roy Batty to my Decker. Wait, what? Okay. Before the delirium sets in any further, how are you, Paul?
I'm doing good, a little hurt. You can't compare me to our current leaders. Come on now. I at least have more of a plan than they do. I feel like every Twitter thing is a new one. So, I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to this last book. It'll be exciting to talk about it. It'll be entertaining to hear what everyone says about this last series, just kind of how I felt. I think it'll be cool to see how everybody else decided to rate this. And, even rating the entire series at the very end.
Right. I mean, this is kind of bittersweet. I agree with you, Luke. I mean, here we are. I feel like we're getting ready to leave some sort of comfortable nest. I mean, here we are at the end, the last book of the Dragonlance Chronicles. So we're looking at 2 more episodes of Dragonlance. And, I don't know if I'm ready to leave this world.
Yeah, who are you? I don't feel like. Oh man, this is kind of crazy to hear you say this.
There's 4 listeners out there right now just throwing their device against the wall, going, "Wait, he wants to stay."
I want to stay. Yeah.
Dungeons and Dweebs is not responsible for any damage to iOS devices or any sort of Android listening device.
I agree, but it's one of those things. You get used to the characters; they grow on you.
Definitely,
and
definitely.
So
without too much spoiler, definitely.
Yeah,
and we've spent so much time in this world now. I mean, we've spent a couple months in depth in this world, so even with our criticisms, these characters, these places, these are all parts of our heart at this point.
Exactly. I mean, my wife can testify to how much we've lived in this world. I started calling her Kitiara.
We learned something there. I mean, hey, if we want to stay in this world, there are another 100 and some books, but I say we can always find new ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can always come back, and that's going to be the beauty of when we come back after a year and we can re-dive into this world and re-dive into these characters and into a lot of these situations again, and it will be like coming home after a year.
Exactly.
True, yeah.
Definitely.
Like all of our heroes at the beginning of book 1.
Whoa!
Call back.
All right, so hey, you know what? Let's all gather up our drinks real quick right before we dive into this last volume. And you know what? It kind of smells like we have some potatoes already, too.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think some potatoes.
I think Oddic's cooking some potatoes. Let's go.
All right, awesome.
I was in a relationship
I swear to you, man.
with
The woman with the blue dragon, she brought me up to her room
Boy,
last
did
night.
she have good
Where's my
time.
corn purse?
Why don't you fellas follow me to my
plastic
cupboard?
ginger.
I'll show you how my glory is good.
What'll it be, boys?
Tavern talk.
All right, so here we are, but first up, we have a promise to fulfill, guys. We were supposed to eat some Oddic spicy potatoes. We just happen to have cooked some up here, so
Got them right here.
a little bit of a Julia Child's cooking show here. Let's try them up.
They've been sitting on the floor for a little bit while we did the intro.
Yeah,
These aren't bad. I actually like them.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of, I like the fact that there's a little bit of slow burn on them.
Yeah. Okay, so there's
there?
cayenne pepper in this.
Wait for it.
Well,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So what the recipe is just cube up some potatoes. You fry them up with butter and a lot of butter, cayenne pepper, and some onions. Sounds simple. Some real slow burn here, though.
yeah,
Yeah. Actually, my mouth is kind of on fire right now.
I may have doubled the amount of cayenne pepper.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely some
mean-
tavern food.
This is just a hearty drinking meal.
Exactly,
You know?
I agree. So
Something that'd be very good to build a base to soak up some cheap ale.
yes, yes. I mean, now I like this because I feel the studio now smells like what the Inn of the Last Home would smell like. You know, I mean,
I think it smelled like that before, but now we just have that food smell in there as well.
exactly. Well, it only smelled of ale. Now it smells of some Onyx spicy potatoes. We're gonna continue this though. I think next podcast, I think I'm gonna go for some chili.
Ooh, chili.
Definitely.
Might have to open the window.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
This
we
is
might
true.
have to open the window
This is true.
mid podcast.
But not too bad. Hey,
And I like the fact that, too, with the potatoes, is it does definitely feel like, like a tavern side or a tavern meal. Anytime you fry potatoes, you occasionally get the ones that get really, really cooked. And, are nice and mushy and sometimes maybe even a little slimy. And then you get the next one that's raw. But that's the way it's supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to get those different textures in there. You did a very good job. Odik, you did a very good job.
Kind of like it's been sitting on the burner for a while, and then somebody ordered some, so the tavern keeper poured some more potatoes on top and stirred it up.
So if you've been to our website, hasn't been updated in a while, but we're gonna change that. And this recipe is from the Leaves from the Inn of the Last Home book, a book I recommended last time. And definitely, if you guys are into Dragonlance, you need to pick up that book. And your next Dragonlance D&D party, you need to cook up some of these meals. This is not bad. I'll post the in case you don't have the book. I'll post the recipe to our page.
I mean,
These would be great. These would be great for an afternoon where you're sitting around playing D&D too. That's an excellent point.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good.
yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it is just.
I mean,
fried potatoes and onions, but that spice, I'm really digging it.
Yeah,
Fried
really
potato
digging
and
it.
onions, you can't go wrong with.
Right
I'll be
on.
honest, I've already inhaled mine. I was a little hungry. This is good. I like it. Now, will my mouth be able to handle the heat?
Well, now that our stomachs are happy, let's get our listeners happy by getting through Tavern Talk and onto the book. So, what's new in your nerd world, Paul?
Well, I'll be honest, not much other than I've been listening to some podcasts a lot. There's been a few that I've really kind of binged.
A lot of Dungeons and Dweebs.
Well, of course, that one I have to. I have to listen to that one. But mostly the Curiosity podcast. If you guys are ever interested in just diving into a random fact that Curiosity puts out, I really like it. It's about a 45-minute episode. For me, it can be a drive sometimes to work, things like that, where I'll listen to it. 45 minutes, you'll learn a lot about a topic. Like I learned once about how different smells affect us.
Wow.
All different things like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just one of those where I'm like, hey, I like this.
how
Different
does-
science things.
How does the smell of Onyx spicy potatoes affect you?
It should bring you comfort. I have no idea. No, and then also the TED Radio Hour. They always have good, different stories that they go in depth to with as well, where it's just, something else to listen to once you're done with our podcast for the night. You can throw that in. And
Of course, after you're done with Dungeons and Dweebs.
well, of course.
Yes, Dungeons
I mean,
and Dweebs.
absolutely.
After
So-
hours.
Klab, what about you?
Like I said in the introduction, I have been sick for the last couple days. The flu season has hit me hard. And so really what I've been doing is...
Boy, am I glad I'm stuck in a small room with you.
I know, right?
It's great.
I know.
Thanks.
Well, here. Mostly what I've been doing lately, I've been doing a little bit of reading, not too terribly much. I did happen to watch Get Out last night. It's the horror movie done by Jordan Peele that came out last year.
Yeah.
About the African American kid who goes up to the rich white girl's estate. Takes a while to get going, but once it does get going, you understand why it took so long to get going. So I would definitely recommend that.
Okay.
Another one on my list of definitely worth the red box money, but I probably wouldn't buy it.
Okay.
But definitely worth the red box money. Watch that Night. That'll really mess with you. Also doing a little Danny Trejo recently. Dead in Tombstone. Dead Again in Tombstone. horrible movies, but but you watch them as horrible movies.
Yeah. Oh no, you definitely have to invite me over next time you're doing a horrible horror movie.
It is. It's Machete as a cowboy.
Oh my god.
That sounds good.
A little bit of rereading I've been doing. Again, not to get too political about anything, but I've been rereading The Crucible right now by Arthur Miller. It's a play set in Salem witch trials and deals a lot with a conspiracy theory issues going on during the 1950s.
I don't know anything about conspiracy theories.
Bob is just avoiding his eye contact right now.
Mostly just because I love Arthur Miller, and I'm kind of that nerdy play guy. And like I said before, I'm the one with the literature degree. I actually have a friend of mine who, before he passed away, shook hands with Arthur Miller.
No way.
And we to this day refer to him as the man who touched Miller.
Yeah.
That's
wow. Crazy.
Luke, what have you been up to?
You know what? Actually, it's been a lot of. I mean, not to give away too much about who we are. September is when school starts, and that's when my job gets busy. Wink, wink.
Wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, squire.
So I mean, and even then, so it's been work and Dragonlance, that is it. But I mean, we didn't actually cover something.
What more do you really need?
I mean, you know what? At this point, what? No, I don't want to spoil it. We'll get there. Last time we were here on Tavern Talk, I brought up The Defenders. We really ran with that for a while, and I didn't get to talk about the other Netflix show that I binged at that time. Travelers. It's a Netflix original, much like Defenders. I cannot recommend this enough. It is. I mean, it's time travel. Ooh. So I mean, I'm already in.
Sucker for time travel. Love it.
Yes. And really, without giving away too much, what is going on is like the future. The human race is on the verge of extinction, and so what they're doing is they're sending people back in time. But they can't actually send like their bodies back in time, they can only send their consciousness, as long as they know 4 things, what they call a tell. The time of their death, the elevation, the longitude, and the latitude? Longitude and latitude, oh my gosh. My mouth is a little on fire from those potatoes. Oh, it's so good, could not recommend it enough. Why don't you cook up some Audic spicy potatoes and watch Travelers? It's super cool. I really enjoyed the entire series. They really dive into, at one point, when somebody's consciousness dies, is that really them dying? It gets a little psychological. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And then, it was like last week was when I finally realized one of the main characters in this show is the guy who plays Will in Will and Grace.
Which is the other reboot you said you were looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, no, I'm not going to. Which reboot would you prefer, another Spider-Man or Will and Grace?
Fair enough. True.
But no, this guy, he is.
How about a crossover?
Whoa! There you go. Actually, he was such a good actor in that. Like, I never even thought sitcom. It was that good, and
wow.
it ended on such a cliffhanger. Netflix, if you're listening, hi. Long-time paying customer of yours. If you cancel Travelers without giving me some
resolution.
Yeah, resolution, some closure. I'm gonna be so angry. Anyway.
Also, if you're listing Netflix and are looking for a fun new show about just 4 guys doing a podcast.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, hey, that's enough ramblings from me, Bob. How you been?
Well, pretty good. I mean, I wish I had something to say about what I've been binging on Netflix, but again, like we've stated, I've got 2 young girls at home. The premiere of the new season of Fuller House was what crossed our radar screen.
I actually, you know what? I had no idea that even happened.
That there was a new Full House?
Oh no, I knew that the first season came out, but I didn't know that they came back to do some more.
Okay, so I'm kind of a sappy dad at this point. I kind of watched the show growing up, and I'd have to say it's striking all those weird kind of notes. I'm not recommending Fuller House, lest I lose all credibility. But it's been fun. It's been fun to watch it with the girls and that kind of thing. But honestly, onto stuff that maybe our listeners would be more into. For some reason, whenever fall comes around, I get kind of the hankering for reading some sci-fi, which is good because we're going to be jumping to sci-fi with Red Rising coming up. But a nice quick read that I always kind of enjoy. I went back to some old classic sci-fi and read Ringworld by Larry Niven, and I'm always a big fan of some of his stuff. It's of the time, and it'd be a fun book to sometimes review on the show, just because there's a lot of kind of maybe outmoded views on things that would be kind of fun to bring up and play around with. Also, something kind of way out of left field. I had a friend who came up to me and said, have you ever watched Fantastic Planet, it's called.
Fantastic Planet.
Fantastic Planet, yeah. And I mean, I was thinking of all kinds of other 50s sci-fi movies. I didn't really know what they were talking about. And they said, no, it's this cartoon from 1973. And it won all kinds of awards, and I'm like, I have no idea. And it's by a French director, and so she gave me the DVD. Turns out the thing is like for free on YouTube, I believe. I mean, this is nothing.
That means it'll be good.
Yeah, it's out on Blu-ray, but not for our region.
You know what else is free on YouTube? The audiobooks for the Dragonlance Chronicles.
You know what else is free on YouTube? The Dragonlance Autumn Night movie.
Autumn Twilight?
Autumn Twilight.
You know when a company is not looking to pull it down, it's not worth your time.
God. Those audiobooks put me right to sleep.
Yeah, but really weird. Again, kind of sci-fi. It's like distant future, and there's these gargantuan, like, humanoid people called the Drags, and there's these little ohms, like humans are like enslaved by them, and they call them ohms, and they treat them like pets, and it's kind of one of those weird early 70s commentary on humanity and slavery and all of that kind of stuff. Animal rights maybe even thrown in there. It is a trip though. Like, I mean, I do not recommend this movie at all. I sat in the morning before work, literally. I mean, how weird is this, sitting at 5:30 in the morning on my computer watching this hour and 30-minute bizarro cartoon directed by this French guy, René Ledoux, or Lalou, or whatever. It's bizarre. It's very trippy. You need to... Everybody's like naked in it. It is weird.
Make sure the kids are down for
bed.
So
don't be putting this on when the kids are on. This is not a cartoon for the kids. But yeah, it's very existential and bizarre. I don't know.
But Dad, I want to watch South Park.
Actually, the animation reminds me of stuff I saw on... minus the nudity. Stuff I saw on Sesame Street as a kid. So I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, who is this animation company? And I never looked into it, but I'm pretty sure they must have done stuff for Sesame Street.
Yeah, after this tanked.
It looks like 70s Sesame Street stuff. It's very bizarre.
Weird.
But that's about all that's going on in my nerd world, because Dragonlance has literally been consuming every waking hour.
Is that in a bad way or a good way?
Yeah, I mean,
spoilers.
It hasn't been bad. I've enjoyed my time.
I think you made that very clear this entire time.
Yes. I mean,
whereas the Chronicles we're on now, you really aren't.
I'm not reading the Chronicles anymore. I'm on to other things and that I'm reading.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize. Sorry, I just pulled it up the trailer for Fantastic Planet. Wow.
You should turn that.
Turn it around so everybody can see. Yeah, there is a weird creature licking.
This is.
I've never done hallucinogenics, but I think I get it.
Yeah,
now.
and actually, if anybody knows, I kind of inserted into our last intro. The Tangerine, it's very Tangerine Dream kind of soundtrack, that kind of weird synthesizer-y. Yeah, it's really trippy.
I don't know if I could sit there for an hour and a half watching that.
I did.
Well, hey, I mean, this entire LSD acid trip aside, I think we need to return to the world of Kryn.
I believe so.
All right, so hey, why don't... I suppose it's my turn again to buy the round. I'll get this round, and then we can really dive into Dragons of Spring Dawning.
All right. Hey, more potatoes, please.
Yeah. We got this.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's a DeLorean, isn't it?
Scales were always in my favor. I might have driven a DeLorean here. Pull up a chair, friend.
All right. Well, we have more feedback coming in. Facebook and Twitter and email.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much. This has been, we love the back and forth so much, and I mean, we're always meeting new people this way. It's awesome.
It is awesome. And I there are so many of you at this point listening that I know there's got to be a lot of things that people want to say, please don't be shy. I mean, please email us at dungeonsanddweebspodcast@gmail.com. We pull things off of Facebook, Twitter. So please don't be shy. Respond. Talk to us. We want to hash it out, even if it's negative. Hey, Bob is ready for the slings and arrows. Maybe I'm not. Okay, but first, can I say long-time listener when we're on episode 5?
Well, I suppose, I mean, if you've listened to 100% of the episodes, maybe.
So, okay, yeah. So faithful long-term listener.
Faithful listener.
Faithful long-term
Faithful.
listener, pseudo-contributor.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when we get into the meat of the podcast, Brendan from Facebook, this guy has been shepherding me through this. I'll talk about it when we get into the podcast. But he came back at us with a comment on Facebook. It says, hey, good episode, our last episode, with a lot of interesting discussion, but I do have to strongly disagree with the criticism of Lorana right after she used the dragon orb. And I think what he's referencing, I know for sure I was kind of knocking Lorana.
No way.
Yeah, I don't knock anything. for the fact that she used the dragon orb to bring in the dragons into the Claris Tower, kill the dragons, and then after talking about having a headache and this kind of thing, that she decides she's glad she doesn't want to use the dragon orb and everything, I think is how I worded it. And kind of was flippant about it and said, come on, Lorana, like if you have the weapon that can win this war for Kryn, you should just kind of man up and do this thing.
Yeah.
But he says this.
Yeah, Brendan comes in to back me up. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, so Brendan here to defend Lorana. He says the orb's effect on her was a lot more serious than just making her brain hurt a little, like I had said.
Yeah.
If you remember, Taz's description of what Lorana looked like right after using the orb, deathly pale, with her eyes looking abnormally large, it reads like she suffered something akin to a heart attack or a stroke. But despite that, what did she do right after using the orb? I'm going to throw that out to you. What did she do right after using the orb?
Well, I'm kind of in spring dawning mode, so you're going to
A little pop quiz. She took a moment to comfort Taz and then rushed up, alone mind you, to the tower walls to protect Sturm's body. And this despite her knowing that, per Sylvanesti dream, she is supposed to get killed while defending Sturm's body. Charging back into the fray, mere moments after suffering a heart attack stroke equivalent injury shows just how tough and brave Lorana is, and definitely marks her as a larger-than-life hero.
Brendan, you are spot on.
He is. And
my guy.
I will say, he made me go back and read through it again. I don't remember what I said specifically. I believe it also talked about how she almost lost control of the dragon orb, and the dragon orb almost controlled her as well, which then made it seem more like, okay, you might be able to do it the first time, but the second time the orb already knows who you are.
Yeah, we do even get some of that when like Raistlin's messing around with his orb.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will definitely give her credit at this point, just because of the fact that we haven't seen Lorana as a quote unquote magic user at this point.
Right.
And so being so, maybe you could almost akin it to, somebody grabbing an infinity stone or something along those lines.
Right,
where
yeah.
She should have had more than just the heart attack stroke. It shouldn't just taken her over.
And she's
to kill
not
her.
a magic user or anything else.
not at all.
So I will give her credit in that respect.
Yeah,
Plus,
I
we
think-
talked in depth about how cool the Lorana Kidiara standoff over Sturm's body was.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it is very cool. So, and I also went back and reread it, and you're totally right, Brendan. I agree. I think I shouldn't have been so harsh on Lorana, because I know I was. I don't know if harsh, but again, kind of criticizing her for kind of.
But I mean, hey, that's why we're here.
Making the statements that she did. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
That's why the listeners are there, to keep us honest.
Yeah, keep us in check.
Exactly.
All right, and hey, you know what? Let's pop over to Twitter real quick. I think I had asked you, Bob, about the when they go to Ice Wall, is there a book there? Our friends over on Twitter, PB Publishing, they hit me right back and actually even included some really cool art on this tweet. Feelthas and the Quest of Icewall is covered in Dragonlance of High Lord Skies.
Oh, okay.
Lost Chronicles Volume 2, which actually, Bob, is one of the hardcover books that you gave me. So I have that. I have it set aside and I'm ready to read it because, I think I even said, I want to hear about that. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, right.
So we got that question answered for us, thankfully, on Twitter, because otherwise I might have just been like bumbling around, the 100 and some Dragonlance books there are out there.
Well, and thank you to PB Publishing, too, because we've gotten a bunch of responses about stuff from them.
Oh my gosh, yes. You guys have shown us so much love on Twitter. Hey, shout out.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we've got more feedback from Kayla on Facebook. She says, "You guys," I don't know if that's how she says it. That's how I want to say that she says it. You guys.
There's 3 U's and 3 Y's.
Yeah, so I think that's how it is. You guys, I love Dragonlance and I love your podcast. I'm super stoked to hear about the recipes. However, I hate Tavern Talk. I want to hear about DL, not random video games. I just straight up fast forward through it. Other than that, great podcast. So Kayla taking us to task on doing Tavern Talk.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been a bit of a back and forth between us. Should Tavern Talk just be its own thing, like its own download, its own episodes, so people can just download that. And if they don't want to listen to it, they don't have to listen to it. If they just want to listen to the book we're doing, they can just listen to the book we're doing.
If I can pull back the curtain of podcasting from 4 people who are very new to this, I think the discussion that we've had, at least from my end, my thinking. So if I can defend our reasoning for doing Tavern Talk to you, Kayla, is that although we're doing Dragonlance right now, we have a whole schedule of other books that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing Red Rising, then we're going to be jumping into the Sword of Truth.
Yes, DungeonsandDweebs.com. Go to our reading calendar. And maybe we'll have it updated soon.
We'll have it updated by the time Kayla will get there. We're going into the Sword of Truth, then we're going to do some Philip K. Dick. Yeah, so I mean, we've got a full calendar of other things before we come back to Dragonlance next summer. So the idea is, we have gained, hopefully, a lot of loyal listeners, and that you're not just here for Dragonlance. But if the book that we are reviewing is not like something that you like, hopefully you formed kind of a connection with us, and you'd at least come back and listen every 2 weeks to Tavern Talk. And that Tavern Talk is something that's more general, more accessible to everybody, not just people who have read the book, and that keeps the audience moving forward along with us.
And by all means, Kayla, come on over, sit down, have a drink with us during Tavern Talk. We'll buy you one.
And hey, Kayla, if you haven't,
or at least I will.
You need to go on Amazon right now. You need to order Red Rising, and you need to read that book. I guarantee you're gonna like it. Okay?
Well, spoilers, Bob. We'll get into.
Okay.
We'll get into Red Rising when we get there. Anyway, hey, not really a question, not really filling us in on anything, but just a little bit more love on Twitter. Season just shared with us a couple days ago. It was a gorgeous fall day. Just reading outside and getting ready for the upcoming Dungeons and Dweebs episodes, reading Red Rising.
All right, so we've got people already prepping for Red Rising.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, if you're a Dragonlance fan, I would say you should look at this. Although we're billing this as sci-fi, and it is sci-fi, it's got a lot of these kind of, I would say, dark, barbaric elements.
Definitely.
There is swords, and I wouldn't say sorcery, but there's definitely kind of a...
But hey, why don't you come join us in, what's it going to be, November?
Yeah, so right after we're done with these, we've got 2 more episodes of this, and then right into Red Rising.
Right into Red Rising.
So I don't know if that's a good enough defense for you, Kayla, but I hope it is. So as far as the foreseeable future, we're going to kind of stick with Tavern Talk. But hey, Tom, this is kind of a side comment. I had posted some of our ads to Facebook, says, hey, what's Cage got in his hands?
What? Hold on a second.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. So I've got to bring this up. I'm
totally out of I didn't even know what you were talking about. You said ads, but I'm like, Cage. Who's Cage?
So
where did they come on?
So again, I'm going to do a little thing on our website about, so what's the deal with us advertising for Dragonlance and Dungeons and Dweebs with action figures? Okay, but So I might be a little bit of an action figure collector, Star Wars and Marvel, and
It's more than a little bit.
Okay, maybe
We've
more than
seen your
And it's more than collector because I've seen you play with them.
okay.
What did you see? I did not see you playing with your toys again, sir.
Okay, just a little story. If you've seen our ad where I had Spider-Man and Thor on the beach, let's just say that I was running around like some sort of French photographer, setting up all of these little action figures as the county workers are all standing around in their vests. It's like a hot early August day, and they're all just guns out with shovels digging, just watching as I'm running around on a beach,
Bob,
setting up little action figures and chairs.
That's one of my favorite things about you. You don't even care.
And I don't even care.
I mean, like from the outside, like it's totally funny to talk about, but like
in the moment,
you still did it.
a person should actually care about what people think.
Scoop them up and run away.
So yes, please follow us on Facebook because if nothing else, these ads that Bob makes are worth it. These are all homemade in-house ads. We're not buying these from someone.
I'm taking pictures of my action figures.
Yes, these are all made. Bob makes all of these in-house, including from our last ad with the party at Jessica Jones's house. My favorite thing in the world, the Joan Jett as Kittiara album that she is holding.
It is amazing what you can do for some of these things.
It's a.
So what does Cage have in his hand?
He's got a Joan Jett album.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
So he's holding a Joan Jett album, and I do believe that probably Tom is referring to the fact that his other hand is kind of in a position that looks like he should be holding a can or something, but there's nothing in it. So it's a little weird.
I took it from since it is the 70s Luke Cage, I
Yeah.
just took it as like doing like the elbow pump, like yeah.
All right, so we've got just a few more to go through here. We've got Brad who sent in, hey, I just listened to episode 2 about part 2, and one of you guys said something about Kith Kennan's sword and Kith Kennan interesting you. I just wanted to say, if you haven't read the Elven Nations trilogy, that was actually what originally got me hooked on Dragonlance. Book 2 of the trilogy is all about Kith Kennan and his brother, and I read it like 3 or 4 times before I ever bought another Dragonlance book. And Kith is to this day still one of my favorite characters in all 30 plus of the books that I've read. So hey, I've looked at this. I know that, and I believe the Dwarven trilogy, I think, are held in fairly high esteem. And it's hard because I know when stuff comes out in softcover, I'm kind of a snob this way in some ways. When there's it comes from Star Wars, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Usually the good books come out in hardcover,
okay.
and the not good stuff comes out in softcover. It's like the publishing company doesn't have the confidence, so they publish it in softcover. That hasn't held true. I mean, in Star Wars, the X-Wing novels are fantastic, but I shouldn't be that way. I might have to, after what I'm reading now, I should jump into...
Yeah, actually, you know what? I wrote that down because I think I'm the one who said that the Kith Kennan story sounded amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna... Hey, Bob, do you have those books?
I do
Could
have...
I borrow them?
I happen to have the Elven Nations trilogy. I can send it your way.
Yeah, I got it written down here. I'm definitely gonna...
Yeah,
check that out.
and
Thanks,
even
man.
I mean, this kept going. Even Steve said that was his third favorite series. So I mean, it's not just Brad. There's other people backing
Steve,
him up on
what's
this.
your first favorite series? That's what I want to know.
Nice. So, and Brad also goes on to say that, why do I feel like I'm the only one who prefers Dragonlance over Forgotten Realms? And I wanted to throw this out here because projecting long-term down the road, there are 2 Dungeons and Dragons worlds that got started here fairly in the same time frame. Dragonlance being first, but the other one being Forgotten Realms. So I'm telling you, in a year, Dragonlance, the Legends, but we're going to make time to start ourselves off on Forgotten Realms. Because I remember reading that first trilogy that Salvatore did, and that's not the first trilogy. I know there's one before that called like Moonshay or something like that. But I think we should dive into that and do a little,
Actually, I've kind of been holding off. Once we start talking about doing this podcast and like reviewing these books, like I definitely Forgotten Realms was on my radar, like already, just personally.
Right.
I'm like, well, I might as well, if we're gonna do a podcast about books, I might as well like wait and Can we please do Forgotten Realms, guys? I really want to do Forgotten Realms.
And you know, it's kind of funny coming into this. I'm kind of like, okay, so I don't know anything about this world. Is this kind of like a Star Wars, Star Trek rivalry? Is it like Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance?
Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we will be the commonality.
If you're a listener out there and know, is there like a throwdown blood war between Dragonlance fans and Forgotten Realms fans? Let us know before we start treading into these waters.
We're gonna take all these Dragonlance people over to the Forgotten Realms area, and we're all gonna get like hurt.
Hey, you know, maybe we can be the peacemakers.
Maybe
that's right. Maybe reconciliation between the two worlds
on the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast.
It's time, guys. If there's been animosity between your two worlds, you need to rectify this situation. We don't need to be divided at a time like this.
Well, hey, do we have any more? do we have any more feedback, or should we?
That is all for the feedback right now.
All right, but hey, Bob, you got a synopsis ready for us?
Yes, I do. Dragons of Spring Dawning by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. TSR Publishing, 1985. Oh, wait. Luke, before I do this, I need some mood music.
Oh, you know what? Oh, wait, hold on. I have the best thing to give. Oh my god, this is going to be so good. This is going to be so good.
Flotsam. Morning. Storm clouds gathered over the blood sea of Istar, dark and heavy laden with their oppressive burden, much like the oppressive burden of my half-elf heart. I watched as the storm clouds roiled and turned over each other. Where they touched, energy exploded in a blinding flash of euphoric release. Such had been the last 4 days of my time spent here, with her, my Kitiara. She rose from the bed like a Sylvanestian werecat, wild tousled black hair and legs that would make Astinus run out of ink. She had eyes you could get lost in. Forget your friends, your duty, your plans. I was tired. My head felt like a band of drunken gully dwarves had taken a permanent residence, and my loins were as numb and lifeless as Theros Ironfeld's silver arm. She had bad news written on her like a burned-out Quayshoe hut.
Whoa, Bob. What's really going on here?
All right. Our story opens in Flotsam, where we find Tanis has been spending time in a romantic dalliance with Kitiara. But when Kit leaves to fight the Battle of Sandcrest, Tanis is able to escape and reunite with the rest of the group, Caramon, Raceland, Tika, Riverwind, and Goldmoon. Our intrepid heroes board a ship piloted by the fearless Maquesta and begin a perilous journey across the blood sea of Istar. They are pursued by dragons, however, and Barum takes fate into his own hands and steers the ship into the giant whirlpool that resides at the center of the Blood Sea. Below deck, Raceland uses the dragon orb to teleport off the ship before it meets its doom within the whirlpool. Raceland is transported to Palanthas, where he continues his quest for arcane knowledge within the city's library. Raceland meets Astinus, the chronicler who continually writes all the events of the lands of Kryn in his massive tomes. Raceland isn't the only companion in the city of Palanthas, however. Lorana, fresh from her victory in Sandcrest, is made leader of the Knights of Solamnia, while Flint and Taz get themselves into some comedic hijinks in the streets. But the celebrating doesn't last long, as shadows fall across the streets of Palanthas and the dragon armies arrive outside the cities. Bravely, our heroes climb aboard their sleek silver X-Wings, speeder bikes, dragons, and take to the skies as an epic battle commences. After the battle, a victorious Lorana receives word that Kitiara wants to do an exchange and swap. She'll give Lorana Tanis if she releases Bakaris, a dragon High Lord captured in the battle. It's obvious to everyone that it's a trap, but who cares? It's never stopped us before, so why change now? Lorana brings Bakaris outside the city, where she falls into the obvious trap and is forced to go with Bakaris to a forest glade, where she's almost raped. Thank goodness a disembodied ghost dragon High Lord named Soth is creeping in a nearby cave and can stop the whole thing and carry Lorana off into the woods. Interlude. Tanis and crew are not dead. Barum Chestgem knew what he was doing, and our heroes have somehow been transported to the city at the center of the whirlpool. Turns out that the lost city of Istar isn't really lost. It's underwater and inhabited by the secretive sea elves who appear to humans only as dolphins. The elves help Tanis and crew back to shore, and Tanis learns of Lorana's capture. The dragon armies are back, headed by bold Commander Kitiara, along with not one, but 2 Death Stars. Floating citadels. Brilliant strategist, Tanis decides to risk everything on Barum and his secret chest gem. He will go into the heart of evil, the Temple of Takesis, and try to use Barum to stop her and rescue Lorana. Fighting through evil territory, our band of heroes are reunited with Fizbin. The group decides to rest in God's Home, a bowl-shaped mountain refuge. Flint has an exchange with Barum and suffers a fatal heart attack. Pushing on to the Dark Queen's temple, Tanis and Caramon act as soldiers of the Dark Queen and the rest of the companions as their captives. But in the heat of almost being discovered, Tanis cries out to a passing Kitiara and gives himself over to her custody. Caramon and friends are taken into the dungeons. Tanis is brought by Kitiara before the Dark Queen and all her minions in the temple. Lots of competing power struggles happen. Lorana is brought out wrapped in gauze. Tanis stabs Ariakis, a major High Lord, through his rainbow shield. And Tanis finds himself having to choose between Lorana and Kitiara. He chooses Lorana. And chasing and running and more chasing happens. Meanwhile, Barum goes ape, smashing bodies, and everybody escapes the prison. In the end, Raistlin appears back in black. Hits Caramon in the chest with a fireball, just cuz. Barum screams like Donald Sutherland from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and impales himself on a gem-encrusted pillar, closing the gate, allowing Takesis to exist on Krynn. Takesis is banished back to the stars, and our heroes escape to the surrounding hills. We end with Raistlin, now wearing black robes, entering the Tower of High Sorcery to take his place as central character in the next Dragonlance trilogy.
Whoa.
Dun dun dun!
I mean, huge twist. Raistlin in black robes. Wait a minute, that's on the cover of the book. God dang it, you guys.
Is it?
Big reveal.
I never bothered to look at the cover of the book, to be very honest.
I thought it was just really dark red.
I was going to say, I thought it was Shadow from the...
100% did not look at the cover. I just read the title and was like, all right, this is the book I ordered. Time to go.
Oh my god.
I never looked at the I never looked at the pictures.
Well, Dragons of Spring Dawning. Hey, we've now reviewed 2 books. Hey, we came off the last ones, all of us unanimously saying that there was we gave a pass to this book.
Yeah.
Even I squeaked through with a 2.5.
There.
So, in all honesty, looking forward to Dragons of Spring Dawning. Again, I'm going to go back to my analogy of learning to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm. I'm
like, now we're in the 3rd book. All the training wheels are off. They were wobbly even for me in the 2nd book. This 3rd book, are they finally going to start riding that tandem bike without the wobbles?
Just ready to go. And you know what? Actually, just like initially opening the book, this map that you get. It's I mean, there have been maps in the beginning of the book, but now it means something to me.
And you know what? I feel like in this book, especially as we get to it, you need it. There's times that you need this map.
Yeah.
I found myself looking at this map.
I had to just reach across and grab the book and open up to the map because I read a digital version of this.
Oh.
So I read the Kindle version of this and it skipped right over the map.
See, and
This would have been very helpful.
Yes.
I will say, I ordered my book off Amazon, and the print is a little small. I wish I had the same size of map that Bob over there has.
So the hardcover the hardcover map is cool.
Yeah, it's a double
absolutely.
page spread. Here, I got to turn it sideways. Ooh.
Yeah, no, it's super cool
Check
to
out-
go back.
Check out that Blood Sea of Istar whirlpool.
Ooh, look at that.
It's super cool to go back to this map after reading through 2 physical books, 2 volumes, if you will.
Right.
About all these cities and really just seeing where they are. I mean, there have been maps in volume 1 and volume 2, but like I didn't know anything about the world then.
Right, and and I have to say, I'm not a lot of times in fantasy novels, I feel like maps are something that just come with the territory. Like, it seems like every fantasy novel I've ever read has maps in the beginning, and I kind of find myself not really ever looking at them unless it becomes really necessary in my reading, and I haven't really jumped to them a lot. But in this one, I did find myself going back a lot to the map. Like I said, that's bigger. I ended up, though, going on the computer and pulling up a really giant one that I could zoom into and look, because there are so many. At this point, Dragonlance has existed for so long that there's just towns everywhere and little things labeled. It's tough.
I think the only other series I've ever gone back and actually looked at the map was the Wheel of Time series, just because it is so massive. Similar to this, you look at it and try to find a map, it'll be packed.
I mean, if we're going to bring up this series, Lord of the Rings is one that I really never felt like I had to look at the map, because I felt like the narration very clearly was stating where people were going, and I didn't even, it was painting enough of a map in my mind. Whereas here, especially as we get to some of these battles with Lorana, I'm kind of like, okay, where's this city, and where are we going, and what plains are they fighting across? And, you know, and especially when you're trying to review something, you're really digging down into the meat. So,
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
All right, hey, we start off, though, guys. Dragons of Spring Dawning.
You know what? It's been a while since we've had
a poem.
Was it a poem?
Is it a poem?
It's a poem.
Oh, it is.
I just have written down. I have written down this, and I want to see what you guys think of this. I have Incomprehensible Musings by Tanis.
I'm going to be honest, guys.
Oh,
Once again, I skipped it and went right to
No.
Everman.
yeah. No,
I skipped it straight
Klab
up
just flicked me back a page. I didn't even see this.
Yep, I just
it
skipped
got
it.
lost in the. Klab, what would you call this? The forward.
Yes.
The forward. It got lost in the forward. I was just like, oh well, it's just like the font was the same. I just missed it.
This was the entire inspiration for doing that entire plot synopsis bit.
Oh really?
Where I'm like, it's just Tanis sounding like he's just kicking back, smoking a cigarette in the rain with saxophone music playing in the back.
She was like whiskey and cookies.
It was.
Wait, I knew her in college.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, why don't you?
I got two 45s, one in each
talk
pocket.
about this? Paul and I will read it.
So we have someone is singing a song, reciting the poem, doing the,
Oh my God.
doing the film noir about Kitiara.
Right.
And we go through this whole idea of going through here. I read this one. It was at the beginning. I actually read this one.
Hey, Klab, you have a literature degree, so okay, lead us. Can you talk about this?
I can't
piece
read
of
this. I
poetry?
can't read this without laughing because of the whole noir thing.
I was gonna go the other way.
Between days and
I was
stops.
gonna ask you guys if you understood what the hell was going on with the shark.
No, this is why I put Incomprehensible Musings by Tanis. I'm sure there is somebody who has read this and spent the time in dissecting what is being said here, but to me, I'm not gonna spend the time to figure out what he's saying about. Flip page. Let's just see what's coming.
And
next.
I want to point out this last stanza here, because this last stanza really is it. Like you said, it's the noir. It's the reason why we did the synopsis thing that we did this time. And so into the shadow, not your shadow, but the eager grayness expecting light, I ride the storm away.
Oh my God.
What is he saying there?
I don't even know.
I'm picturing him and Kitiara. Oh man. Okay.
Doing stuff.
I don't care. It's that I just like what we did with this. It works.
I guess we're all in agreement. You skip that. You get into the
I mean, on accident.
but you could.
Okay.
And so we get into what is, I guess, the first chapter. It's this usual, like we get in these books, it's kind of prelude.
Yep.
It's the Everman.
Which
it's
I
called.
love that word.
Can I just say that? All joking aside, I hope you're still listening, people, and not like, oh, here they go, just ripping this book apart again from that first line. Everman, I think, is really strong. This is one of the strongest openings to a book. I thought the opening from the last book was really weak and not where you start a book. This is good. You're giving us some back-in-time lore that's really odd. And I like that it's kind of dissonant from the rest of the books. You don't know these characters. It really kind of sets you off on a weird footing, and I love it.
Well, and I like the fact, too, that as we go through here, we have this whole Everman and Jasla story here of these two kids in the woods.
Yeah.
And it really set it up for me, in my head, aching back to, the beginning of the movie where you're getting that little bit of backstory where they're flashing the credits in front of you.
Again, this would set up well as a movie.
But in a less obnoxious way than Dragons of Winter Night did it, where it's just like, hey, remember when this happened?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember. I just read that book.
But we're getting the story here. We're getting the pictures of the story here, which is.
And let's go into let's get into this story. So what it is Barum had a sister named Jasla, right? And they end up they're out in the woods and they find this kind of burnt out temple, right?
Yep.
And
Kind of Hansel and Gretel.
very Hansel. Yeah, it has this.
I was gonna go more like Smeagol and his friend, but
Okay, there you go.
I
There you go.
mean, it sounded like they were starving. They were always hungry. It seemed.
It
Was
did
this
seem-
right after the Cataclysm, or was this?
I think it's right after the Cataclysm because
what I've written down was like, I'm like, well, was this like a year ago?
No, I
No, I
believe
don't think
because
it's a year
it said
ago.
how the Everman doesn't die,
Yeah.
so he's been around for a long time.
The
So
Catac-
since the Cataclysm,
And that
this
was
has
like
been
300 years ago,
Right,
right? And I know
yes.
in the book it talks about him saying, "I've died 300."
So I
or
think-
I've seen myself die over.
So there's going to be a lot of listeners who right now are like, if I was just there, I could
Smack
straighten
us.
all these guys out right away.
probably.
But it doesn't matter. So here's
Matter
what
to us.
I took from this is that. The Cataclysm happened and all the gods went away, and we're here in the ruins of Takesis's. And at first, we don't know it's Takesis's
No, we have no idea.
palace, but this is of her temple, right? And he ends up stealing a green gem. So Barum is like, because they're poor, like you said, Paul, thinks, hey, if I steal just one gem, our life will be better. And so he does it, I guess, for the right reasons, but steals a gem from Takesis's, like this pillar, and it ends up something weird happen. Stuff that we aren't really meant to know happen, right? Like she falls, she's bleeding, he's looking at her and yelling. And
Well, see, I didn't get that she fell. I got that he pushed her.
yeah, actually, he pushed her. I'm kind of going back to
because
at the
he
end of
was
the book.
he was.
Yeah.
And I like this scene here because he keeps going around to like the different gems and like trying to find one that's loose so he can pry it off. And and Jessla's telling him, no, we don't know what's going on here. We don't want to actually do this. And I kind of looked at this as, maybe kind of an original sin metaphor.
Right. Yeah. I was going to go back to that. I believe that this is some sort of, and later on when we get to this, I think actually maybe in the next podcast, there is definitely some Adam and Eve
combined with a Cain and Abel transposition.
Definitely
there.
Cain and Abel.
She tells him no. He gets mad. He pushes her and she falls.
I went less biblical. I went less biblical, like what I said earlier, Smeagol, because he's like, I want this. I need this.
Oh, I like that.
I want this for my birthday.
like kind of. Okay, I get it.
And he pushes her down and goes, oh, crap.
See, and I was taking it more with what Klab was saying, that he is doing this for the right reasons. Almost like the serpent is like, hey,
Yeah, okay.
eat this apple and
like
you'll
that.
gain
I like
knowledge,
that.
right? And he's like, oh, if I just steal this gem, my sister and I will prosper,
Yeah.
right? Like it's this fall, this original fall.
He kept
after
talking
the
about
Cataclysm.
how he was going to use this gem for good. Even
For
though
good.
she constantly, it was constant.
And this kind of comes around to like why I thought it was only like a year ago. Was I thought this released the gods.
Oh, okay.
Like whatever this gem tower was, what had them sealed away outside. But I mean, that's not. I think I might be confusing storylines because the gods aren't sealed away; they just left.
Yeah,
and I'm unclear. I guess I'm not sure on that.
I don't know
either.
I do want to say, I needed this. I was really glad when I first opened this book and saw that this was about Barum.
Yeah,
I was extremely happy because
thank God that weird guy from freaking Volume 1.
Because Volume 1 and they talked about him in Volume 2 where it was always mysterious and I'm like, I don't remember him. Did I miss something super important?
And why am I supposed to remember him?
I needed this.
And it gives us the backstory about why he has the chest gem.
Yeah.
And why he can't die and keeps coming back. But we go through here and you guys are all siblings. Mm-hmm. That horrible moment of when you've pushed your sibling down and you're like, oh God, don't cry, Mom will hear you.
He kills his
and so
sister.
I can't even imagine this aspect of I'm sorry, oh God, you're dead.
I just want to say I was the youngest. I was the one that got pushed down a lot. I'm kidding.
Well, and then we flash from here.
The tallest guy here.
we flash from here to the deck of the Percheron, the ship, and McQuesta, the leader, the captain of that ship, says that he thinks he's around 60 or so, but has young hands and all this kind of stuff. Like
this is still in the prelude.
Yeah, because he's steering the ship and she's talking about this whole.
And doesn't she refer to him kind of like making it sound like he's special too?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
like he's mentally childlike or something.
Right.
They talk. I think somewhere in here. I don't remember if it's in this prelude or somewhere, but they talk about how people assumed he was a mute. Because he just
Yes, because he doesn't
Yes.
talk. And I love this because if you're going to set up a book, this is how you start it off. All kinds of
Absolutely.
mystery and weird dangling threads that we don't know about, but that are intriguing. That we,
Yeah.
where is this going? I'm instantly intrigued, instantly in to Dragons of Spring Dawning. I have nothing negative to say about this. Like the rubber has hit the road and I'm ready to go.
Oh, hold on. Can we mark this as history? He does not have anything
I have nothing negative
On,
to
on
say.
this, on this day, year of Paladine, 2017.
Astinus, write this down. Okay.
That's really good. I like that.
Okay, so we're into book 1, chapter 1, Flight from Darkness into Darkness. Okay, like we said in our plot synopsis, Tanis is still an officer in Flotsam, but we learn that Kitiara is away, and I love this because I'm just seeing this like seaport town. And he's kind of like coming down the stairs. And there's this innkeeper,
this
and
is
this
so
innkeeper
good.
says, "I admire a man that can keep her satisfied that long."
Yeah, I mean, well, even just back to like, we're just into it.
Yeah.
There's no like, hey, remember that one time?
Remember Module 22 when
Yeah,
you
hey.
played it with your friends? Like,
Remember that one time Tanis and friends got into a real hoodlum? Hoodlum? What? That's not a thing. I don't know.
got hoodwinked. I don't know.
Tanis and friends got real hoodwinked down in Flotsam. No, we're just boom. You're in it now. Let's go.
You're in it, and it's dark, and it's rainy, and it's
Right.
brooding, and we have a moment from Tanis here where.
Oh crap!
I should probably go check on my friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I mean, and then he's.
I've been having boot scenes for like 4 days. I better go check on my friends.
And then I love all the stuff they set up. There's a Draconian just kind of passed out on a table, but he's really not passed out. He's like
that's
really
so good.
following Tanis, which I love.
This is weird for me. I have a grape to pick with that.
Ooh.
Tanis has been with Kitiara for 4 days. He at this point, I feel like he should be way more paranoid because he found out that she was evil. All of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but if you walk around and you see somebody passed out, I would still be paranoid and go.
I don't think they're doing much walking.
Especially
no.
a Draconian.
I'm
If
saying
Draconian.
if he's walking around and he's leaving, and there's a Draconian, I would suspect any Draconian at that point where you are, because you're freaked out at that point.
But I don't really know if he's accepted that she's the bad girl yet. I think she's just misunderstood and power hungry, and maybe I could turn her around, but I gotta go talk to everybody else.
Yeah,
You think he's still in that denial phase where he's just like,
I am.
you will always be in that denial phase.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I never gotten quite a bead on ever reading these books is exactly what Tanis thinks fully about Kitiara and what he can do. It's left to your imagination what he's thinking.
My first note for chapter 1 is, so we start out with Tanis having maybe switched sides?
Yeah, right.
I didn't know. I'm like, well, I mean, we're in between books. I'm assuming it's been, a long time. Like, man, he's still hanging out with Kitiara. What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
No, I really like that this is like, book 2 ended, book 3 started.
Yes,
and we're just,
definitely.
and we're just
Like,
going,
whoa, like just boom, we're in it.
I agree
do
with
like
all
that.
that.
I did almost feel with that aspect too that the end of volume 2.
Yeah.
These are very close in publishing dates. You look at these two books.
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
These are
they cranked them out fast.
It quite literally might have been one long. They quite literally could have gone through one long book here and gone, okay, we're going to cut it here.
I would agree with you, Klab, except that I do feel that this third book, I'm going to say it now because this is going to be my thing throughout the entire book. This book is much better written than the other two. I think the level of prose in this is higher, and I'm going to say that they had an editor on this one.
Okay.
That somebody went through.
Really, that was
Yeah.
like another one of my first thoughts in this book is like just the way it flowed right off the bat.
Somebody looked this over. Like it wasn't just Weiss and Hickman. Other people got their hands on this manuscript and finessed this one.
It wasn't Hickman in one room, doing the modules, Weiss in another room doing the books, and like somebody in between the rooms with a whip going, make books faster.
Well, maybe they were able to talk more. Maybe they were able to spend time together more.
Maybe.
I don't know what happened, but this book seems like a different animal to me, almost right off the bat.
And so let's keep rolling with this.
Right.
Tanis walks down to he goes from the military hotel to the ramshackle hotel that the rest of the party is. been sitting in for 4 days going, where's Tanis?
And I'm waiting for this because Tanis, I've hated that he is doing this to the party, and I'm ready for them to take him to task. Like, listen, jerkface, where have you been for the last 4 years? 4 days, sorry. But I love this right off the bat when they walk in. I'm getting kind of a little D&D things, but in a good way, like kind of the whole party. I know. What am I saying?
Who are you?
I was gonna say this is.
Wait, I'm the one with the fever, dude.
I'm sorry.
I'm the one with the
I'm
fever.
sorry.
Sure you didn't pass.
But
it
I
to
love
him?
that he comes to the door and you have Raistlin and Caramon working together. At just this one time, we've got them working together where like Caramon's going to ambush Tanis in the door and Raistlin is in the middle of getting ready to throw a spell. Like
Yeah.
they're ready for this.
This is gonna like hurt.
Yeah, like, and I love the fact that they're setting up this ambush and the brothers are actually working together. It's kind of a nice little moment.
And you can see, though, that this isn't the first time they've done
I was
this.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
right,
it seems
exactly.
like they've done this before, which is what you would think they would have done. I feel like they should have done this a few other times because
In the
it's-
book, yeah.
In the book, Caramon and Raistlin, they've been together for ever since they were born. They
Yeah.
should have a bond of, okay, I know you do this really well, I'm going to do this, it's going to mess up their day.
I like the fact that Raistlin knows that Tanis is lying about where
Oh
he's
yeah, that was
been.
so cool.
Yeah,
So cool.
I mean, and it instantly almost is jumping me to Raistlin's side. I know I dogged on him in the first book, but I know Tanis is my enemy.
Yeah.
and I'm far more
That's
for Raistlin.
very clear, Bob.
Yeah,
And I don't understand why Tanis is lying here.
yeah.
I don't make an explanation. Yeah, I was with the Dragon High Lord. We need to talk about this as a group,
Right.
because it's your sister.
To me, they always say
rather than Tanis just being like, oh no, I was captured.
Yeah, they always say the best lies are the ones that cut the closest to the truth,
That's how I lie.
Yeah, that's how I do.
And maybe that speaks to who Tanis is, that he can't do that.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, but
Like
see,
he just he comes back and he's feeling so guilty. It's like I don't even want to like talk about it because I'm just gonna get flushed in the face and you guys are gonna know something's wrong.
you know what? I'm glad that you're saying that because that to me, I guess, is if I'm gonna have a minor gripe, is that all of these characters besides Raistlin are so uber
Lawful good.
that Tanis is going to maybe do that, and the rest of the party is just like, oh Tanis, you were gone for 4 days. Yeah, we miss you. Like they all just instantly accept them back, which I kind of like. And it justifies, I guess the 4 days and why they're not like literally beating him to a pulp. But again, I think they're all just so lawful good.
I would believe that more out of.
I can't believe I'm using D&D lingo. Yeah, they're lawful good. Yeah.
I believe that more.
Well, maybe to go back to D&D lingo, maybe that was his role.
Yeah, true.
That was Tanis's role.
But the entire party seems to be lawful good.
ROL.
The entire
ROL.
party besides Raistlin.
Yeah, it was. I would believe that out of like Caramon and Raistlin because they've known him for so long.
Right.
Gold Moon, Riverwind. I mean, I guess Tika knows of him. She didn't hang out with him.
Well, I mean, Tika's a bartender. You think somebody here has got like some sort of extra perception here going on? Like, I don't know if I buy what you're throwing down, Tanis. As we've been sitting here on pins and needles for 4 days.
I'd be pissed.
I don't know.
But forget about the conversation because Tanis is cranky, so it's bedtime.
I was going to say, it went back to mopey, angry Tanis. And I don't like mopey, angry Tanis. I hate him.
And
I don't like
they ask him
Hashtag emo Tanis.
They ask him some questions, but with a party like this, if the one person is gone for 4 days, I feel there should have been more questions.
Yeah, I agree. And there's
not just, oh, he's crabby, let's go to bed.
Did they all just hang out in the hotel? Like, what happened?
I think so, yeah.
I feel like
I would have been mad.
I feel like I would have had to go. I feel like Caramon or somebody. Caramon had the armor, didn't he? He could have walked out and kind of seen what's going on around town.
No, you know what? Tanis had a good story, didn't he? Like he was just captured and he just couldn't get away.
If this was the last book, they probably would have started doing a circus act to make some money. But they
No,
didn't.
if I remember correctly, Tanis had a good story, and I think that's like why they're just like, okay, whatever. Oh, Andy's mad.
Yeah, right.
So now we jump to
Kitiara.
upset Kitiara.
I love
Yes.
it. She's angry and strips naked and throws things.
Yes.
Okay, I love this idea of Kitiara in this book. Kitiara is written much better, and it leaves you to question this entire book. My question is, what are we supposed to think of Kitiara? And I think it's up to everybody's interpretation. Mm-hmm. Is she mad purely in that childish way because Tanis disobeyed? Is it because she really loves him? There's all kinds of times in this book where it's like, does she really love him? Does she care about him? No, whatever. And I think it's up to you to determine. I of course want to go with she's she's in love with him and covering it over.
I want to put Bob. Really?
I don't know.
I know. I'm gonna hit it from the other end. I'm taking like it was based off of what she said in the dream in Sylvanesti, which might not have been her. I guess I don't think we really ever know.
We don't know. I don't think she was there.
That she's more along the lines of Raceland.
Yeah.
That you're just convenient right now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I remember you. I remember liking you.
Well, and think about the situation here. She just killed her friend. She just had the little standoff with Lorana. Maybe she just wanted to come back to the hotel, burn off a little steam, and Tanis wasn't there.
I do like that scene with Kitiara, but we're on to pursuit. Tanis begs McQuesta to leave port early. I love this part because I'm totally getting Han Solo from McQuesta.
Yes.
She has this big first mate that's a furry minotaur who's been known to kill. I don't know, maybe rip Draconian's arms out of their sockets. She has a small, fast ship that can outrun the big Draconian High Lord ships, mind you. She's fast enough for you, half-elf.
See, and
I never even got that, but that is so good.
I didn't either. I went with another fantasy. Once again, I'm a fan of the Wheel of Time series, so I went right back there with... I'm sure somebody will tell me I'm getting it wrong with the Wind Mistresses. I know, not one of you guys.
We'll get to it when we cover it.
Yeah, you guys haven't read them, but just people that have always lived on the sea where they can outrun pretty much any other ship. They know the sea. They're good. That's what I got. And usually women controlled the ship in their culture, so it was always. Immediately, I thought of that.
Yeah,
I like Mac as a character. I like Mac as the strong woman character.
I do too.
I love that they call her Mac.
I know. I love that. Captain Mac.
Yeah.
Tanis tells McQuesta that the Draconians are after Barum, and
really, all I'm gathering from this is Tanis, I feel, is just feeling guilty and just wants to run from.
Wants to get out of there. Yeah, he wants to run from his problems.
He's not like really. I mean, he's Tanis. He is concerned about their safety, but that's not really. He has no reason to feel like they are in danger. He's just like, oh man, I really screwed up here, guys. Hey, let's get on the boat and get the heck out of here.
Right.
Well, I love the fact that when he tells Mac, when Tanis tells Mac his story about being captured by a High Lord, she's like, I don't care.
Yes, absolutely. She honestly, she's Han Solo. Is the goal good?
I don't care, but you kind of look like crap right now.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And we get out onto the Blood Sea of Istar.
Wait, do you know what we get? Before that, I don't know, at least in chapter 2 anyway, Toad is still controlling the East and is still a Dragon Lord somehow.
Yes, well, because
blew my mind.
By the end of this book, we'll find out what happens to him, but yeah, he's still around.
Yeah, we get a little bit of lore about Istar and the Maelstrom.
I love this.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love this lore about it, about how the cataclysm happened and it sunk into the sea and that it's red because of... the sediment that comes out of it. I love all this stuff, and then there's a perpetual storm in the middle. It's good visuals. I'm not going to ask how a whirlpool continuously sucks. I don't care.
It's magic.
It's cool. It's magic. It's cool.
Magic.
Yeah, it's cool. Although there is a story in one of the Tales volumes, and there's a giant dragon in there beating its tail or so.
Don't ruin this for me.
Just don't
ruin this for
magic. I am sticking with magic, and don't tell me anything else.
I'm just sticking with awesome visual for a movie, and I don't really care why it's happening. It's just cool.
I hate to say it, a Dragonlance movie would not get the budget.
And again, going on to this pursuit. I love this. The visuals are awesome, and then they're pursued by dragons. Like Kitiara is just jumping onto dragons. I'm coming after you.
So we're on chapter 3 now?
I'm into chapter 3.
I'm gonna hit this on the head here. This illustration of Eben is what I needed. Is Eben.
Yep.
Eben.
Barum.
I actually wrote down Eben.
Oh,
the guy
okay.
that he died with in book 1.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, it's like it really gave me because I was definitely picturing big Iron Man gem in the chest. Yeah.
Yes, I was too. Eben. Just the loaf of bread size.
Yeah. I'm like, it hurts every time you cross your arms. I don't. No, it was super cool. This chapter actually blew me away. The action, the betrayal. This is the most I have ever liked Tanis, and in the cabin.
Whoa.
I don't know. I don't know. And even Kit in this chapter, this is just, she's such a power-hungry monster.
Yeah. I like...
This chapter...
I do like... all of these chapters are running together really strongly for me, and I really like them. I like that Tanis is forced to admit that he lied.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm sorry. That is actually I cut myself off there.
Yeah.
Him admitting that he was wrong.
Yeah, I like that.
That's where I like it.
Yeah, I like that. And that's not making me like Tanis, but I'm liking the fact that he has to admit that he was wrong.
And we have
the only thing that does pop out, Caramon calls him a lame brain. And
I must have like
when you're in like medieval mode, and I know this isn't medieval times.
You wanted better
Dragonlance.
Insults.
A better insults should not be like lame brain.
Paul, let's hear it.
Lame brain.
There you go. I got you guys covered. Yeah,
That insult sucked.
I don't know. I don't know that insult either. I need to think of better ones.
Yes, but it still hurt my feelings.
I like here that Raceland again just sitting and kind of like, watching Tanis's downfall. Like, you finally failed, Tanis.
Yeah, and this
I
is
like
where
this.
you're really starting to connect with Raceland, isn't it?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I am liking Raceland better, especially when he's like the antagonist to the Tanis, which I hate. But they go above deck because they're caught in this maelstrom.
Yeah.
And so we're on to chapter 4. My brother. Yeah, you need to be doing it.
Farewell, my brother.
Okay, this is all really strong for me, but this is just reinforcing for me my dislike of Tanis. This whole he's lawful good, and you were even saying it. Does he worry about the party? Is he just running from Kitiara? What's going on? And then we're in the middle of the whirlpool running from Kitiara, and he's looking over the edge just wishing for death. I want Caramon to come over there and just punch him in his little emo face. I can't stand how Tanis is constantly roller coastering.
Hashtag emo Tanis.
I'm just yelling why are people following Tanis? Put him in the back of the line, let him cry, and follow Caramon, or for love of God, follow Raceland at this point.
Do you know how I know that I'm reading a book that I enjoy? Is that now the story is going on.
Yeah.
And I have my own ideas.
Yeah.
The story is strong enough for me to be like, why didn't you do this instead? And my idea is, the party knows that the Queen of Darkness needs Barum.
Right.
Well, she needs Barum to conquer Kryn. Sacrifice yourselves for the greater good. Plunge the ship in the maelstrom, kill Barum, ruin the Queen's plans.
So you think he's wishing for death because he wants to kill Barum?
No, that's what I'm thinking they should have done if they were really good. Yeah. 2 problems with it, immediately after finishing the chapter. Mac would never stand for this, first of all. Yeah. And Barum has died before and he just comes back. I don't know. You guys discuss.
Yeah. and the reason he's wishing for death, too, is I wanted an about face here from Tanis. I wanted it not to go into, oh my God, I guess I'm just like all the other guys she's taken to bed. Mm-hmm. I wanted screw her.
Yeah.
We're going after her now.
I know, but you're going to have to wait 2 books within the volume to get that.
Yeah.
Well, and this is, I feel sometimes where this book feels teenager-ish, is that these personal relationships, it's like you are caught in the middle of something unbelievably epic where saving Kryn, and you have all of these friends who just love you unconditionally and they're following you around and stuff, and you're constantly just mired in this little self-pity party. Mm-hmm. And again, I feel like somebody in this party should be able to recognize that and be like, okay, we're done with you, Tanis. You need time to fix yourself. I don't know.
And Bob, I will say though, we go from that to all of a sudden Mad Barum. And the writing for Barum losing his stuff and taking control of the ship
and steering it right into the maelstrom.
Driving it into the storm. I love that. I love the mind pictures that come out of here.
Yeah. I do love that too. And this is where our opening came from, where they go below and Raceland's going to use the dragon orb. And I do love this whole part. I love all the lines that are dropped, the callbacks to the other books.
The brothers will always give me the feels.
Oh, I love it. I love this entire book. But Tanis, again, during this part, I can't stand this because Tanis, instead of taking it on himself, like Caramon, me and you are both going to rush him or whatever, he's just sitting there ordering Caramon to do it, betting it all on the fact that Raceland won't kill his brother.
Yeah,
and he's sitting there just kind of...
Raceland don't give a crap.
Yeah, but if you stand back and go, Tanis won't even he
can't do anything.
Again, he's like ordering it, and I know you can stand back and go like, okay, but he's thinking that Caramon won't get hurt, and but I'm not buying any of this. It's not heroic. None of the stuff Tanis is doing is heroic.
What is he gonna do? Like, say he does rush Raceland, takes him out.
So
then what? Now Raceland, you're dying with us too.
Yeah, but I'm not saying.
Like, what does it accomplish?
But I'm not saying that he should take out Raceland.
Why?
Right?
Raceland is
stop him from saying what he's going to say. Right? Like he's telling.
Okay, yeah,
so what's he going to do? He's telling Caramon to do it. He's telling Caramon to do it. Like, why won't you do it? Like, if this were a heroic movie,
maybe Caramon knows how
movie.
to.
I was saying movie.
Yeah, maybe Caramon knows how to take him down without like killing him.
Yeah,
I would be afraid to hit.
I feel though that you're giving the book too much credit here, and I feel like like if you were to write a heroic scene between your three heroes, where one is going bad and leaving everybody else, the two others should be, and especially your leader, your lawful good leader, should in some way be doing something that also includes him in that heroic action, not ordering the other guy to go on. It's kind of like, hey, he just threw a grenade. Jump on it.
There was just something about Tanis here where his guilt like brought me over to his side. I get it. He betrayed his friends that mean everything to him, just like in a moment of like, I'm gonna be selfish for a little bit and I'm just gonna go have my own boot scene real quick. I get it. He was selfish for like, well, 4 days. I mean, mind you, but he was selfish for a figurative second, and everything just went to crap. It's like, man, can I just not get a break? I get that.
Hey,
I totally get that.
And don't forget who's still here.
Who?
Goldmoon.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Goldmoon and Tika.
Goldmoon, Riverwind, Tika.
They're all still here.
Three that are just
and who's with child?
But just, it's funny. Rayson pulls a dagger at the end of this, and in my notes, I just put stab him, Raceland. I've gotten to this part. I have gotten to this part with Tanis that I'm just like, hey, Raceland, I'm putting on the black robes. Just stab him in the neck and let's get going.
And thank goodness for Mac, because we're all in this little weird thing below deck, and all of a sudden we have Mac going, guys, come back up here.
Yeah, and comes back up there. Yeah, I do like this.
And is it me, or did anybody have like a weird like picture of Raceland like almost like happily bouncing up the stairs to go back? There's just a couple of these weird comments and a couple of these things that come out where he's like, oh, I almost got to stab him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I've been waiting to kill that jerk for a long time.
So Rayson uses that dragon orb, poof, disappears, and then they're all back up on the top of the ship. And this is where we get all kinds of exposition. Like, Tika is pining over Caramon and her love, and Tanis screams about how he let them all down, and it would be better off if he were dead. I totally agree.
I'm
then
agree
there's this big, long heart-to-heart with River Gold Lovejoy, like all of this kind of stuff where she's trying to bring him back to the light and all this kind of stuff. I don't mind this stuff, but underneath it all, I'm going, how is there time for all this exposition?
Oh, no, yeah.
You are on a boat getting sucked into a maelstrom.
I have to, like, actively
not think about what's
dismiss the whirlpool maelstrom.
It's a big maelstrom.
Yeah.
It takes you a long time to circle the drain.
But I mean, like, you're gonna have to do a couple of laps before you get used to it. I mean, like, I don't.
Like, if anybody doesn't agree with me on this, I challenge you, listeners, go pull this part up, because I did this. Go pull this up and imagine you're like that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where they're all going down that big thing, and they're just shouting at each other. Take everything they say here and just shout it across the deck of a ship at each other. It will be the most farcical scene you have ever seen. Wow. It's just ridiculous.
I just want to say something, and I haven't said it before.
Yeah.
It's a D&D thing.
What?
Yeah, okay.
Because a one turn generally in D&D is 6 seconds.
Yep.
That 6 seconds can be 8 people all having a conversation, and depending on your DM, that can last a solid. It can be a solid.
I will
30.
adamantly disagree with you. This DM sucks.
I agree.
You do not have that much time.
You should have the timer going, but
what kind of D&D games are you playing where a ship is getting sucked down a toilet bowl and you guys are, as a group, are talking about each other's love?
Okay, not that. But I'm saying the long conversations, it can happen.
It
shouldn't.
And Tan is staring over the deck again, going,
Kill me.
I'm just gonna jump. I'm gonna do it.
What is the
This
point? You're
sucks.
gonna die in 5.2 seconds. Why are you gonna jump?
Well, because then we wouldn't have gotten the exposition
Yeah,
about
but
how suicide is forbidden
I'm
by
gonna
elves.
say I'm gonna say something good about Gold Moon.
What? Yeah. Besides, she's hot.
Well, I don't
She's
know.
also preggers at this point.
She is pregnant.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The pregnancy gives her and River Moon relevance again.
It's true.
They're
yes.
not just here because Gold Moon is a cleric of Mishakal, and I guess that matters still. I don't know.
Which it doesn't. Can we bring that up? That really, I mean, what has this done? I'm sure there's other books about it. But yeah, she became, the entire first book was her becoming that. It hasn't seemed to have done anything.
Yeah.
They haven't even met somebody who said, who's helped them out and been like, hey, remember when you converted me to, Mishakal?
I'm going to read you verbatim what I've written down.
Yeah.
They have a reason to live outside of the old gods that are just talked about a little.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say, do they talk about Mishakal very much after
No,
book one? I
no.
can't.
No,
I
a
couldn't remember it at
a
all.
little bit in this one.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, no, it's because she like touches Tanis's arm and whispers words of Mishakal. It's like, what the? Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then because, and then we get to all of a sudden Kitiara's there flying over the maelstrom.
Yeah. I mean, I do have written down here, because I just got to throw this out there, just one more zing before I go back to my love of this book.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so while they're having all this like fatalistic talk on the deck, I'm like, well, couldn't our heroes be proactive? Oh wait, they're not those kind of heroes. Yeah. I mean, to me, you go down on the ship like with some even stupid idea of like, hey, we're gonna tie this rope here and throw this out, and God, Caramon, grab this, and we're gonna, you don't say die, but these guys just continuously say die all the time and just don't care. I just want to die. You even have your leader wanting to throw himself.
My last note for this chapter is, "Oh Caramon, my heart it aches for you."
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
It does. Something about Caramon he has the right suicidal tendencies in this chapter. It's for real. I mean, like,
Oh yeah, my other half just noped the heck out of here.
yeah.
What am I gonna do?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
he's been a real jerk before,
Yeah.
and now he's just like reaffirmed it, and now he's left me here to die.
Yeah.
These are the suicidal tendencies in this chapter that I can get behind.
Yeah, I mean, so we have we're left kind of with Tanis sobbing about the fact that Riverwind's pregnant, because I guess he feels bad of what he got him into. Then Kitiara shows up just as they're dropping into the maelstrom and takes Barum, and then suicidal Tanis decides to try to save him. You're suicidal, you're just going to end it all, you're going to try to save Barum, I guess because you want to save Kryn, but who cares, you were just suicidal, and then Tanis is weeping, and then he wants to die, and then I just don't care anymore. Like, Tanis, just go down this maelstrom. I hope he hits his head, and everybody else makes it.
But you know what? Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
We meet Astinus, the historian.
Chapter 5. We've been going around a maelstrom for the last 15 pages.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's talk about a guy writing
library.
a book.
Yay.
You know what? I will tell you, this is a breath of fresh air. It's jarring when we get to this Astinus, this mage. But Astinus of Palanthos, he sits and writes histories into all these books, right? I love this chapter.
I thought it was kind of weird.
Yep, I'm with Luke.
It is
on this
weird,
one.
and that's why I liked it.
I liked it because I went to this whole are we in the DM's head now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
instantly know there's something with this guy.
Yeah,
because he's sitting and it's almost like you're pulled out of the world almost, and you're in this weird calm where he's just writing everything.
Up until this point in volumes 1 and 2, the mysterious components of this series.
Yeah.
Never really just confused me, and so it's starting to confuse me. I'm like, okay, there's gonna be some weird twist here, and I'm not seeing it coming.
Yeah,
I don't know, but actually, when we find out about it, I'm okay with it. This actually pays off, but initially I'm like, what?
No, that's pretty much what I put in my notes right off the bat. Was just kind of, who is this guy? Have I? Personally, I'm very bad with names, so when they put a name down, I went, have I heard of this guy? Was I supposed to know this guy? Ah, shoot.
Yeah, well, and I got this whole, Greek, Middle Eastern, the fates writing the story of the world.
Right. And
there's an aspect to it, especially when they do make some when we get some comment here from Astinius about the cataclysm, and he makes some weird comment about Oh yeah, like I spilled a lot of ink on that one. Like
Yeah,
almost like
yeah.
he's writing history.
Yeah.
And, like nicked the bottle, and the bottle of ink fell on the page, and that's why the cataclysm happened.
Right, and I'm trying to get a beat on him. I love what he says here. He says this one thing about how I am the world, as you well know, old friend. So he
knows Raceland.
He calls Raceland old friend.
Yeah, I mean,
and he says, I am the world, old friend. I instantly know that there's something more with this guy, and I'm instantly like, okay, Raceland is something else.
Yeah, so
Yes.
back just a little bit.
Okay,
Raceland had. This is where Raceland teleported.
Yeah, he came here.
And he is in rough shape. He did not do
yeah.
this correctly, or
Yep.
the Dragon Orb
Yep.
totally goofed him. He's on the steps. He's bleeding from the mouth, but I feel like that's normal for him. I don't know. He's on the steps. They bring him in. He needs to talk to Astinus, and they're like, "Well, he'll talk to you when he has time."
Yep.
And Raceland's like, "I'm dying, dude.
Yeah.
We gotta go now."
All right.
And did you catch the I quote in here?
The I quote.
Raceland looks at
Astinus.
Oh, yeah,
Astinus,
yeah.
and he's not dying. Like
Yeah.
everything Raceland looks at,
Right,
sees
he's not
the full
dying.
life,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
full
yeah.
life thing.
I'm instantly...
EYEI.
Yes,
And it should be said, all comments about this book that I know I'm going to make will be as if I don't know anything about what's coming or what has been written in other places. Just
Yeah, no,
my
reading-
feelings at the time as I'm reading
you my
through
notes
this.
at the time.
Yeah, so we're in kind of just the present without anything that we may or may not know. And I'm instantly going, okay, so he's a god. Like, I'm instantly thinking he is one of the gods. We know there's lots of them on Krynn, and I'm thinking he's a god because he even says, I sit with my hand on the sphere of time, the sphere you made for me, old friend, and I've traveled the length and breadth. And, like, he keeps talking about himself as if he's timeless and everything. A lot of the allusions that come up almost sound like almost biblical, again, Alpha, Omega kind of things. I'm like, okay, he is a god. He is a god.
I kind of, at this point in the book, that's kind of where I was, but I
Yeah.
kind of, because he seemed to be familiar with Raceland, but Raceland had no idea who he was.
Right.
I thought maybe he had a similar, rebirth or something, or whatever happened to Raceland.
Can I say that I don't think this is a spoiler, really. This is the part when I'm like, Raceland is Vistendantilus.
Is that what you think here?
Yes.
I don't know what to think here.
That's instantly what I thought. Because he has been toying with this for 2 books, and then now we know that he is old. Now this old god-ish character is recognized him. Instantly, I make the connection.
I assumed
he is Vistendantilus. I had been assuming this.
I assumed we weren't on Krynn anymore.
Oh, really?
I assumed. I went with some weird Mount Olympus purgatory
That's
type
cool.
deal.
Yeah, I like that.
I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
That should be really cool.
It would have been a little cooler.
Yeah.
I am thinking that these two are reborn all the time together.
Oh, okay.
And that is just like Astinus' turn to bring Raceland into the world.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Then Astinus will die and Raceland will do the same. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. But you know what? This book has tricked me.
Yeah.
I didn't see Sylvar being the dragon. You know what, you guys? We're just starting this podcast here. Yeah. This will not happen often.
Yeah.
I'm not tricked a lot.
Yeah, right.
I can usually see stuff coming like a mile away.
All right.
Astinus is a good mystery. A lot of this in these books are either good mysteries or they're poorly written mysteries to the point where I can't predict them.
And I think this speaks to, again, what we were talking about, how this book seems head and shoulders to me above the other two.
Definitely.
Is that we are coming to a chapter like this, and the 3 of us who have said what we thought of this have completely different interpretations. And they're all really cool.
See, now I'm going to jump in with this.
Yeah, what
with
do you got,
mine. The way he was writing everything, I don't know, maybe this is corny. I went to the Christmas Tale. The past, the future, and the present. And immediately I was like, okay.
No, that's good. That's not corny. That's good.
He is the present. There will be a future and there will be a past later on where it is.
Whoa.
That is what I saw.
Astinus, what a device.
Yeah.
Actually, but
that is immediately, because he was writing, I think, when in the first part of the chapter, he sits there talking about how, about what he was writing. And that is what immediately made me think about it.
That's brilliant, Paul, and you know why? Is because from the annotations,
Weiss says that one of her favorite books
Yes!
is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Tale.
I don't have the annotated
Carol.
version.
Need to put it out. Carol.
Oh, sorry. It's Christmas
English guy.
Carol. A Christmas
yes.
story, you shoot your eye out. Sorry, wrong one.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol.
So anyway, I like.
That's
all right.
probably one of the things that was floating in her stew while she was writing
Yeah,
this.
because that
Okay.
was immediately what I thought.
So we go through here. We have this.
Astonus allows Raceland to read about like 90% of the books that he needs to.
Yeah.
Raceland starts dying, throws a magical temper tantrum, and then he kind of dies at the end of this chapter. I'm putting it in quotes.
Yeah, right. Because we don't
After
really
he's
think
pled,
he's dead.
after he's pled with Lunatari and the Dragonarm to try to get like some final life out of him to finish what he needs to do. And you know what? I wrote this down when I read this chapter. I'm not falling for this, Dragonlance.
Yeah.
Because you have killed people and not actually killed them.
Yeah, right.
And it's just your track record is ruined at this point. And this is very important. Like, you can't just like Marvel, DC kill people and like, well, was there a body?
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, no,
You
and
cannot do that.
I never thought from this that he was.
And so that happens.
We're going to chapter 6?
Astinius leaves. And yeah, chapter 6.
We're into Flint and Taz.
Where all of a sudden, wait, okay, I guess we're not in purgatory.
Yeah.
We're actually in a real city.
Yeah, it's a real city called Palanthas, and Flint and Tass are there with Lorana, who tasks them with checking the fortifications.
Yay. I love these guys.
I love these
That's all
guys. I mean,
I can
again,
say.
just hijinks as they bumble around Palanthas. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's a great excuse. It's a great excuse for a data download here, as Taz is wandering around the city.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It is true. Yeah.
The Tass and Flint, they're always the data download.
Yeah.
It's just boom.
You know, and I really do. I do love that. You know, Tass, I guess, saw Raceland at the library.
Yep.
Like that's so. Like, I mean, it really does bring it back to reality.
Yeah, like
Stuff that goes gravity. I mean,
yeah, like somebody else is seeing it from their point of view. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's totally cool. Like it brings it back. And he's like, hey, that's my friend. And they're just like, get out of here. And they shut the door.
We've got big things coming, so let's flash through some of this Palanthas stuff. But Lorana is meeting with Amalthus, the Lord of Palanthas, and the city is described as beautiful with all these round streets aligned with the 8 like compass points and stuff. So it gives you that kind of like, hey, we're flying over the city. This is, all of our next chapters are going to deal with this city. This is what you should have in your mind. When
Taz wandered into a tower that's going to come into play later.
Yeah. We're setting everything up. We're just setting up all of the
I did think, and they're going there and like everybody's really scared. And I'm like, oh my god, there's a dragon in town. This town has dragons in it. No, it's just a tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like this tower. And then as Astonus arrives and tells the story of this tower and why it's kind of all locked up and everything's kind of dead around it and everything. And I like this whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
we get well, actually,
Do you want to? We should hit this up though, right? The leaders of men feared magic, kind of back.
you know what? Actually, what I have written down here is Astonus shows up, and we get the same history lesson about the tower. We've already gotten this history
This is
lesson.
true. Yeah.
And I was pretty mad while I was reading this. I'm like, you're wasting my time on this. Like this.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I don't want.
Right.
When like Volume 3 takes place 4 days after Volume 2.
Yeah.
Like,
who is reading this without reading anything?
Yeah, who's
else?
like, oh yeah, my god, Volume 3? This is a good spot to jump in.
Yeah.
No. We already know. Don't waste my time reading this.
You know what? The only thing that came out of this chapter that jumped out at me is that they talk about how when that dark mage jumped and his cloak got caught on the tower.
That was talked about.
Yeah,
before.
which is cool. That the cloak is still there, and I'm
okay, yeah.
the sails back in Tarsus, fabric and Kryn never deteriorate.
I left that up to magic. That one I just left up to magic.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find something.
What about
dumb
the
to
ships?
throw out.
What?
The ship's sails are magic?
They are now.
No. You do not get to retcon that.
It's not get to retcon.
It's the magic.
They're like ships from Peter Pan.
Hey, let's leave it up to the magic of the Temple of Ishtar here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Ish.
Yeah.
And then we're on a chapter.
I like that Flint and Taz have all kinds of discussion. Let's just
it's
through it.
good.
Hey, it's a town. It's old. There were a bunch of wizards that.
Yeah.
I will like just.
Flint says he never liked Kitiara. Always thought she was a stone.
Nice.
Flint with the sick
burns.
Yeah. I like it.
I do really like what they talk about the city. It was a city that was built on like practicality like, we need walls and stuff. And they're like, no, walls are ugly, and we want to be pretty. And then, like, they started building this town that's just, like, totally impractical to, like, defend.
Right.
I
And
like
you know
that.
what? And there is a part in here that, again, big fixes for me that, I've been just railing against is this chapter, even though it's a data dump and download, it gives me huge scope as to what's going on. It's like Lorana says that she only has a handful of knights in the High Claris Tower, and she has about 1,000 on the walls of Palanthas. The dragons are heading their way. This was like blowing my mind as I'm reading, and she's like, she's discussing plans and bringing in reinforcements, and I just have, God, this is what we should have gotten all along. And I'm like, she is a leader. She is planning with people in a city. She's talking about fortifications, and I'm like, this is real. This is like actually what people being attacked by dragon high lords would do. Yeah, we're getting there. And then dragons show up, and it's kind of a fake out. They're silver. and so they're the good ones. The good ones have come.
It was a good chapter.
I like it.
I liked it.
I have at the end, it's about time, Weiss and Hickman. Like, by the end of this, I'm on my high horse. But, I overblew the fact that I'm really railing against, like, I'm mad at Tanis, and I don't like the fact that they have huge exposition while a ship is going down. But in reality, while reading all this, that's very minor to me. And up until this point, I'm just like, this is head and shoulders above anything I've read so far.
And it sets the stage for, hey, we're going to get another fight here.
Yeah.
We're going to get another epic, long-written fight.
Let's fight some dragons.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they're good. But yeah, I don't know. Chapter 7, I thought was a really great chapter. Lorana's named General of the Knights.
Right. Silvara talks about how there's this oath with the silver dragons made with Takesis that they won't fight.
Lorana is named Knight of the Knights of Salamnia.
Oh, yes. I have no problem with this.
Dang it! I wrote that down! What? Bob will have a problem with something. Bob will have something.
What, should she be a lady of Salamnia?
No, I just
you're right, Luke.
Women can be knights.
In the High
Claris
Tower, I had this issue that in the heat of battle, Tanis had handed off leadership to Lorana, and I'm like, why? So this elf woman just shows up with a couple lances that you don't even care about using, and you're gonna all follow her. But you kind of brought me around to why that happened, and at this point, I am just so overjoyed that there's. Why do I keep saying plans when I talk about these? But there's what's going on. I'm okay with this.
Hey. And Paul, what were you going to say?
I will say, she's proven herself, too, at this point where...
Yes.
And when she is named... What is it, Commander?
Golden General.
Golden General?
Right.
She goes, it's political.
You know what?
I like that was her first instinct.
Not to bring it back.
Why every time we do this, though, and I understand that sexism is real, I understand it's something that exists, but you always got to have the one douchey guy, our Sir Patrick here, who's like, I'm not working for women, women don't belong in the military.
It's 1985.
Yeah. We can go back to that comment.
It's 1985. Lorana's got on her suit coat with shoulder pads.
Her golden suit coat.
Pantsuit. Ready to get on a dragon. No, and that's a statement probably trying to be made.
I mean, really, I'm really enjoying this chapter. The only thing, like the Amethyst, Astinus names are really tripping
Malthus and stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit too close.
Yeah, it's oh my god.
But I do want to just
I would be reading it. I have to go back and wait.
I do want to finish out just with my thought on the that you were talking about the High Claris Tower and stuff. I guess in a way, to bring everything like I always do back to Star Wars, it's kind of like. Well, I guess this did happen, so this might be a problem with Star Wars for me. Is that leadership be dropped off to Luke, who's just brand new, right? In that first battle, right? Like, why would you trust him? But then, after taking out the Death Star, yes, he would be a leader, right? You know, so that's how it is here with me. Like, okay, well, she did win the battle of the High Claris Tower. They would make her the leader. Like, she's the only one with the cred.
Well, and let's not only make her the leader of the Knights, let's make her the leader of all of the freaking armies.
Yeah, right. I'm going to give them, this is their gimme. I'm going to give them this, and I'm just going to go with it and not be a... Yeah. Well, I can't believe I'm saying I'm not going to be curmudgeonly about this.
I like
that. You know what? I really, even with the name confusion, I didn't really mind this quote-unquote Senate scene because stuff was actually happening.
And it's quick.
They're naming a general. It's quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lord of Palanthas is kind of funny to me. He's kind of like goofy. Right. I don't know. I liked it.
Yep.
Well,
I love this, and I love this. What we hear about these dragon eggs. about Silvara talking about this.
Oh,
that
yeah,
the
this
Silver
next
Dragons
chapter?
made a pact with Takesis that they wouldn't attack her. Right? She stole their eggs. Right? And then Asinus gives us this whole story about Gilthanas and Silvara's journey to sanction and capture by the High Lord Ariakis. So this is the first time where we get kind of a new High Lord bad guy, Ariakis, who tortured them. They escape, and there's this cool volcanic temple, and they discover silver dragon eggs that are being like used to hatch draconians.
Which this was so like weird alien to me that I loved it.
It was alien to me. It was
So
totally
good.
alien, and I loved it. I did love all of
I
this.
didn't see any bit of this coming. I'm like,
not at all.
Like, well, Draconians are just a race on this world. No, they are like perversions of life.
Yeah, no, I loved it. All of that I absolutely loved. And I love the fact that we actually get like plans
Yeah.
in this part. Let's see, I had this written down and maybe this is what Lorana's plans are. She hoped to secure Vingard Keep first, freeing the prisoners and slaves held there. Then she planned to push on south and east, driving the dragon armies before her. Finally, she would catch them between the hammer of her troops and the anvil of Dargard Mountains that divided Solamnia from Eastwell. Like, I'm just reading this going like, yeah.
Wait, they can actually think about something.
Yeah, I mean, if this were Tanis here, he'd be like, oh, forget this. Give me one Dragonlance. I'm going to run into the temple. Yeah, I don't know. But this, to me, is just fantastic, and I'm loving all of this.
I would agree entirely. Honestly, in this last chapter that we were talking about, chapter 8, I believe, right? The Oath of the Dragons. I liked how dark it was.
Yeah.
Once again, every time they go dark, I tend to enjoy it.
Yeah, evidently, every time they go dark and weird and talking about like the weird chanting over the dragon eggs and the draconian bodies slithering out.
Yeah, no, it's very atmospheric and I love it. Gilthanas, though, comes and talks privately with Lorana and tells her that he overheard Kitiara talking with Ariakis about her love affair with Tanis and how she wants to promote him. And it's weird. I am now liking Lorana so much that it actually is hurting me to read Lorana being pained so much by this. In fact, I even wrote, it's like watching Jennifer Aniston and all of the men that have treated her like crap.
I'm totally behind that. I'm totally behind that.
I just have Brad Tanis can go to hell.
Where's the Ross for this?
Where is the
for
Ross?
this Rachel? Really?
Yeah, I agree. Why are you pining over Tanis? From this point on, I will now refer to him as Tanas. Okay, so just so you know.
Oh my gosh.
I agree, Bob. I agree completely with you here.
Whoa!
Klab, really?
I'm actually, well, the whole story that Gilthanas tells her and talks to her about is, it's the weird like, hey, your ex-boyfriend's evil and gonna kill us all now.
It's horrible. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to cut her off. Maybe he knows she's constantly pining over Tanis and is trying to make
Well, he was never comfortable with his with their half-elf love anyways.
Right. Like, he's probably trying to drive that wedge. Like, hey, stop pining over him. We have a war ahead of us, so,
but I love the fact that that after she sends him away, she's like, I'm done talking about this. And then we have this just quick moment at the end of the chapter where she's like, well, I got armies to lead.
Yeah.
You know what we do get here in chapter 8 is this little nod, and I'm holding on to this, is that these books were written by Asinus.
Oh,
I don't know if you.
I thought that from the time we met him.
Oh no, it's because of this page here. The following is an excerpt from the Chronicles. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
I did. I thought that I thought that from the time we met him. And again, I'd like an annotated version that was in different colors for who was. I want to know
who wrote what.
Who is he? Is it Weiss or is it Hickman?
Yeah.
I think right at this point it's Weiss.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've split. They've done one's doing it, the modules, one's doing the books. It's just different. I don't know, but I don't know.
We're moving on to probably one of my favorite chapters.
Chapter 9. Let's just
we get the spoiler title.
Victory.
I guess we're gonna win this battle.
So I want to get into chapter 9 because this is probably my favorite chapter out of all of them.
Right.
It focuses on dragon battles and Tass and Flint just being complete idiots on a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved this.
And give me shiny dragons any day.
Oh,
I completely went to Pokemon here for just a split second. I'm like, oh, the shinies have showed up.
I am giving Klab a look right now because he doesn't understand Pokemon.
No, I don't know anything about it.
I just know Pokemon Go.
Yeah. I love this. So they have Taz and Flint have their dragon, Kirsa, also named Fire Flash. We get this huge info dump on how Dragonlances are mounted and how dragons are flown, and I like this. Like it's a neat visual of like, okay, so how do you mount this? We've heard about these Dragonlances. Everything's called Dragonlance in this world. So how do you use them? I like this. This is a cool idea.
I also love the sarcasm that they gave the dragon. Up until now, they've either been evil or really good.
Or crazy.
Or crazy.
Or PTSD dragon.
This one is just sarcastic. It's just, oh yeah, do this. I love that.
But I kind of came across with, are you talking about the sarcasm in when Fire Flash is talking to Flint and Taz?
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, I took that as like playful.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it's playful sarcasm.
It's playful sarcasm because I guess I'm the one that has to deal with the dwarf and the Kender.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
they're putting them on my back.
I know, I love that.
Yeah.
Referring to them as sire and squire. I died every time she did that. I thought that was hilarious.
And these visuals are just epic. I can hear just music swelling as like all these dragons are taking off from Palanthas, and Laurent is leading them on this huge silver. And I love that Flint is just looking over, and because he loves maps, is just like, I see it's the perfect map.
Oh my God.
And then he gets to draw it and loses it.
Flint or Tass?
Tass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he draws it out on Flint's back and then it gets
I missed that part. I don't know how I missed that part.
Beautiful visuals here again with all of these the metal dragons, your silver, your bronze, metallic. Thank you. all of your metallic dragons. Everybody's and it's before the battle, so all the dragon riders here in clean armor and the sun's glinting off everybody. And Flight of the Valkyries is going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. Yeah, I agree.
Love, too, when they reach that battle, there's actually strategy.
Oh yeah.
Where I was like, oh my gosh, it's not just, hey, there's a big battle and then dragons fight. It was like, no, we're going to lead these troops in. They're going to die, yes, but at the same time, it'll make them
if this were the other two books, we would get no battle. I mean, we would have a battle.
Yeah.
It would be going on, but we would be thinking Tanis or Flint would be worrying about his wife and kids back home and talking to Tass about it. Like, all we'd have is weird inner monologues with characters and never see any action. This was an entire chapter of action.
Absolutely.
And this is what we need.
And action because the humans are just riding at this point.
Yeah, right.
The dragons are the ones that are metallic dragons here. Just take their own initiative here and are completely it's dragon on dragon.
Yeah,
the humans are just hanging on.
It's awesome, and I love this. I mean, they're aiming for the wing joint with their lance, and it's cool. I'm loving all this stuff. This needs to be a movie at this point, and then the two dragons are grappling and they're spinning to the ground, and I'm loving all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say they made a movie about dragons, Aragon from the book. Don't ever watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I like that movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Not if you've read the series.
I've never read it.
Not if you've read the series.
At the end of this chapter, they capture a blonde dragon lord dressed in blue with a bum arm that I guess I'm supposed to remember from somewhere.
Yeah.
He was the guy that got shot.
I do know that after reading more of this book, but it's like they're talking about him, they're saying his name like he's my old buddy.
But
like
Hasselhoff is who takes him down,
and I love it.
Like he is. Yeah, I mean, he's just he's like flipping and twisting and grabs him.
Poor Flint is in the corner again, popping nitro pills.
Yeah, that's what I got here.
He's having an episode.
Yeah, at the end of book 1, Tass has figured out that Flint has heart troubles.
Yeah.
I don't know. This entire chapter, it's pretty much Tass and Flint and then a battle. I love it, and I love that once again they're they don't take the kinder seriously. It's like, it's a kinder and a dwarf.
Okay.
Well, whatever.
So at this point, I do have to say that whole thing you said about Taz noticing that Flint as having heart problems. Like, I mean, as soon as I read that, ding, 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 I mean, there is alarms going off in my head.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of an epic battle, fantasy battle, and everything else, it is odd, right, for the narration to shift and say, "Oh, and Flint is having heart problems," and it will do so again in here. I instantly knew something was going on with Flint. You know, like, I mean, something is going to go down.
I knew because I will say this. I knew I've been waiting for something to happen with Flint.
Yeah.
The first scene in Volume 1, Book 1, where Tanis and Flint meet in the woods, Tanis has to sit down about 4 times as they're walking through the woods.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Flint,
And I went, oh, yeah, something's going to go on.
I mean,
Yeah.
Flint is
I've been
the
waiting
old
for it. It's a
dwarf.
bomb that's
Yes.
been waiting to go off.
I mean,
Yeah.
he is
Yes.
the old dwarf. He's the old guy at the party.
And again, Dragons of Dwarven Depths, it is discussed a little bit more in its entirety.
Hey, we are now at the end of book 1. How's everybody feeling? Paul.
Honestly, as I just said, this chapter 9, this last chapter, I'm loving it right now. Like, this is bringing everything I liked. I've always been a supporter of this. I was always reading them as a kid, but now, honestly, with this book 3, I'm reading it both as a kid and an adult, and I'm liking it so far. I look forward to the rest of the books of Volume 3, or is it Book 3, books 1
Book
and 2?
3.
I can never say
Book
it.
3,
Right?
book 2,
Volume
Books 2 and
3.
3, Volume
It's a
1.
D&D thing!
No, it's not.
No, it
it's
really
not.
isn't. So I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I might have already read through a few of the next chapters, but it's something that I'm excited to read. Klab, what about you?
I tell you what, Paul, I'm feeling great at this point. This first book was a super quick read for me. And I remember because I couldn't put it down, because I wasn't drifting off, because I wasn't looking around trying to figure out other things. It was just, I wanted to keep going. And I remember when I first read book 1, I actually probably stayed up a little too late one night before work because I couldn't stop reading after book 1. Mm-hmm. And I got to the end of book 1 and I wanted to keep going. So I did the whole, well, I'll just read a couple more pages, and then 2 hours later I'm still sitting in bed reading. I'm in. This goes. I so badly at this point. I wanted that Tanis bringing Kitiara back from the dark side moment. That's my only gripe here. Okay. I thought it was going to happen. We quote unquote raced from the party.
Right. Yeah.
So I
bring her in as the fighter.
Bring her in so that Caramon doesn't go off himself somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want that. The characters are going well for me. I'm done with Tanis.
Thank you.
I
think we all are.
I think we all are done with Tanis, but I like the directions that these character arcs are going. I'm excited to get to the next podcast so we can talk about a bunch of things I know that are going to happen.
Yeah. Yes. Me too.
Luke, how are you feeling at the end of book 1 here?
I feel like I'm reading a different series.
Okay.
This is crazy. I've enjoyed volumes 1 and volumes 2 of this. It's been a little slow to get into it, but this is different. This is a book with a purpose. Maybe it's because it's the end. I don't know what's going on, but I am really, man, I'm so into this book. And you know what, you guys? I want to know what Tanis does next.
Tanis does next.
I want to know. I don't know. I'm the
You want him to come back. You want him to come back.
The
from
outlier here.
I will just. I will consistently be the outlier in this podcast, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just like some hipster at heart. I don't know. Bob, where are you at, man?
Well, boy, you nailed it on the head, Luke, when you said that this feels like a different book. This feels like a different book. I mean, I have loved, like you guys, I have loved reading this series. I didn't recommend book 1, kind of recommended book 2, and I talked about what my standards for recommended.
Volumes
1 and 2. I've talked about what my standards were for those. But this book, like we said, right off the bat, it feels like a different book. It feels streamlined. The narrative is tight. I'm gonna say there was other hands in this. There's somebody looked over this, or what Weiss and Hickman were doing. There was a different chemistry or dynamic going on with this one, or maybe they were just that much more jazzed about this story that they pumped a lot into it. But this is really good, and I'm really excited about where it's gonna go from here. They are on the bike; it's not falling over, and I'm ready to cruise downhill with these guys to the end because this is good. I'm really excited about this.
Woo!
Yeah, I can't believe it. And I know we overblow things. We're a podcast. We've got to have disagreements. We've got to find fault with things.
We're making ink on paper exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Ink on paper is always exciting.
So even though we
English majors in the room, I'm sorry.
Even though we have yelled about stuff, it's been yelling from I think a different standpoint.
Definitely.
Whereas before I was yelling about like from a writing standpoint, like why would you write this? Why would you do this? Like it just felt like sloppy writing or rushed writing. This is more like I'm now yelling at characters.
Yeah, the plot has sucked you in.
Yeah, the plot has sucked me in, and now I'm more irritated with what characters are doing, and I'm not stepping out of the narrative going, okay, Weiss or Hickman, like
what you doing?
Why'd you make that decision?
Yeah,
So that's better. That's much better.
All right, Bob, Paul, Klab. We spent a lot of time here talking about book 1 of volume 3. But let's just settle up our tab. Let's get out of here. We'll come back next time. We'll really wrap this up.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, here.
All right.
Let's do that.
Hey, Onik, you got anything? Sure. Split up chest slam. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Dweebs. There's even more adventuring to be had at our website, dungeonsanddweebs.com. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at dungeonsanddweebspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Find all those links at dungeonsanddweebs.com. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The music for Dungeons and Dweebs is Fatal Fight by Royalty Free Kings and can be found at their website, royaltyfreekings.com. Dungeons and Dweebs is a Tim Gilbert media production. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. And no part of the show can be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the expressed written permission of Tim Gilbert Media.